Okay, so we've been working on this Ford Explorer. It's an 03 XLT all-wheel drive. A lady happened to have broken down just out the front of our business here. Car was left there for a couple of days, pushed it up here on the hill, and ran a couple of tests on it, and we've decided that based on all the testing, it has a bad computer. We just want to show you what we did. Hey, Snoops, tell us what's going on.
So what we had was we turned the key over and basically nothing would happen. Just absolutely nothing. So we thought maybe it was the battery, so we turned the headlights on. We crank it over, you don't see the headlights dim at all. So we know that there's not a load on the engine. So we figured, okay, battery seems to have power because you have headlights on, but the starter's not engaging, so it's not putting a load on the engine, which isn't draining the battery. So we know it's not a battery problem, but we don't know for sure if the starter is bad or not. So we test for voltage down there at the starter. We get 12 volts down there. So, you know, we could say, hey, maybe it's a starter, but the only problem is usually when the starter's bad, you'll hear some kind of click, like some kind of relay click or some kind of click down in the solenoid, but the starter won't turn, like the motor's burned out. But that's not the case. We weren't getting a click at the starter relay right here. So, actually, let me back up. Yeah, I need to back up for a second. We did not have 12 volts at the starter, so we knew automatically the starter was good. We didn't have 12 volts down there, so we came back to the relay, and what we did was we took the relay out like such. Okay, so we hooked up our test light. Make sure the ground's good, it lights. Okay, so we have power right here.
What are you testing? Let's have a look here.
Now it's the top of the top terminal, female terminal. And what I realized was, this was after looking at it a couple times, but if you look at this relay right here, the load side is always going to be the two opposite terminals that are in different directions. This one goes sideways, and then the other one goes this way. So these two are the load side. These two are the control side. Okay? So, that being said, I go up to this top female terminal, and it lights up, so we got power on our load side. Okay? Now, the only way you can get power to the other load side is if the relay's in for one and if the control side's working. So let's test the control side. So in order for the control side to work, we have to turn the key. So let's put the key in there, and I'll have you, Woody, I'll have you hold this right here like this. You might be able to even just keep it right there like that.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm just gonna turn the key.
Okay.
Let's see if we get power.
Yeah, we got power. We do have
Okay,
power.
so you have power there, right?
Mm-hmm. We do.
So we know that power on the control side is good.
Okay.
But this is the kicker. We're not getting a ground for the PCM. So we go right here. Okay, this is gonna be for ground. I'm gonna crank it over again.
Yeah.
And this, before I test it, we gotta switch our test light terminal to over here to battery positive. And let's make sure our test light works. Okay. Now let's go to the ground side of the control circuit, of the control side. Now I'm gonna crank it over and watch what happens. Okay, I'm cranking.
Yeah.
And nothing's lighting up.
No, nothing.
So that tells you that the PCM is not grounding the relay for the starter.
Okay.
So this led us into another direction, or a new direction. Now we were asking ourselves, why is the PCM not grounding out the starter relay? Then we had to hook up the scan tool, We hooked up the scan tool. Scan tool would not read the computer. It would not identify the VIN on this vehicle, and it would not scan the vehicle. So it was having problems communicating with the PCM. Not to mention, I'll have you come in on that side over there.
Okay.
And we'll show you what else is happening. Look at, there's a theft light right here. You'll see it off of the windshield blinking, right?
Yeah.
Well, on Fords, when you turn the key to the on position, eventually that flashing light has to become a solid light. And then when you actually crank it, the light will go off, or should go off.
Yeah.
Right? But watch that light. Watch when I turn the key. See it blinking? I'll turn the key to the run position. It should go solid right now, I believe. And then when I crank it, look at it. It's still doing the same thing. So the security light is never doing what it should be doing. So we know that something in the computer, the anti-theft, something anti-theft and computer related is preventing this vehicle from starting. So hence, we're not getting any grounding action, or the PCM's not grounding the starter relay. It's not doing anything, basically. So we got a computer problem here is what we're thinking. Now, I don't think it's anti-theft. I think the anti-theft is connected to the PCM, so it's all intertwined. But I'm thinking PCM here. And mostly because our anti-theft, our security system is not activating like it should. And also, we can't communicate with the PCM with our scan tool. That's another reason. And the PCM is not grounding the starter relay. So we got like three things there, So this is what we have come up with. So we're going to change the computer out. We're going to reprogram it with a used one, and we're going to see what happens.